Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I'm just going to start calling these the bacon episodes. I get my second cup of coffee, I put my bacon in on 400, and then I start this show, which means that occasionally we have to go check the bacon because we're wanting it crispy but not burnt. XRP Las Vegas is in 15 days, folks, just a tad bit over 2 weeks. Brad Combs is, today's April 17th. He's increasing the prices on April 25th. So if you're planning on coming, and don't look, these down, like with this weekend when we had the market got crushed and all these things are temporary. This can change on a dime. So don't be the guy who's kicking themselves when they're like, oh, I didn't like it when the market went down, and then I didn't buy a ticket, and then in the meantime the market surged, and then you wanted to be there. Don't be that guy. A lot going on. I've got 2 different types of discounts in my group at daixrp.com. They're at the top of the page pinned, and if you're not in my group, you can go in the description of this video and you'll see the links, all of the links to XRP Las Vegas. Turns out, check this out, chipmaker Cerebras Systems picks Citigroup. This is an older article from April 6th. They are going to be having an IPO in the second half of 2024. That's what they're targeting. Just for those of you that don't remember, Cerebras Systems, world's fastest AI chip, 4 trillion transistors, and guess whose platform that they are on this morning? This is one that keeps on selling out. They're on the Link2 platform this morning. I checked. Link2 is my sponsor, linqto.com. Go check it out. All right, Anthony Pompliano, quote, ex-military intelligence. Anthony Pompliano, that means we assume he's ex-military intelligence, but we don't know. He is a Bitcoin maxi.
Welcome back.
He's a Bitcoin maxi who completely understands XRP but pretends like he doesn't, which has had my red flags up for a long time.
We're just few days away now until the Bitcoin halving, which reduces the supply of new Bitcoins. Currently, Bitcoin price is sitting at $62,710. Joining us now, Anthony Pompliano, Pomp Investments founder and partner. I want to talk about the halving. I want to talk about the run-up in the price, and also the flip of that, which we saw last weekend. You were kind enough to tweet back at me over the weekend. We were trying to understand some of the movements. Explain to the audience what you think has happened even in the past week, both in terms of the run-up and maybe this move lower.
Yeah, well, let's put everything in context, right? Talking about Bitcoin is crashing to $64,000 was a dream just a few years ago. So we're up significantly. Since the last halving to today, about 4 years, we're up 800%. So it's been incredible performance. This year to date, it's about 40%. Compare that to gold. Gold's up 7%, year to date. And in the last 5 years, it's only up about 11%. Now, the reason why I bring that up, what I think is really interesting is you actually have lost purchasing power if you've held gold over the last 5 years. Inflation has outpaced gold's performance. So the whole narrative of gold protects your purchasing power is now been debunked, right? For the last 5 years, that's not true. Bitcoin has.
Man, I tell you what, folks, regardless of what you think about Bitcoin, I own some Bitcoin. When you hear anybody trying to act like gold is not, while all the central banks accumulate gold, your antenna should be going up. When anybody is trying to pretend like gold is no more, folks, gold, this is God's money. This is from the Bible, okay? This is the one thing that has held its place as a store of value for hundreds of years. You hear somebody, especially a young person, talking like that, watch out.
Start talking about this price run up, that 40% increase to start the year. All of a sudden, why is the price going up? ETFs are a huge piece of.
here's the backdrop, folks, and this is what you have to remember. Remember, who is it more than anybody? Well, who's been suppressing gold for all these years? COMEX, the U.S., with the help of guys like J.P. Morgan. I'm assuming they're helping them because they don't really do anything to them. Who is it that ignored ETHgate? Anthony Pompliano. Who is it that also ignored ETHgate? CNBC. In other words, who is it that's carrying narratives instead of telling the truth about everything? These guys. Who is it that teased Anthony Pompliano up to talk about Bitcoin or Ethereum, but anything except XRP? These guys. And now you're being told gold is somehow, oh, gold's not as good as Bitcoin. Well, who are friends of the central banks? Well, he would say he's not, but it just so happens that the guys who are CNBC, the guys that are controlled by them, CNBC, are extremely happy and comfortable having Anthony Pompliano on in all the Bitcoin maxis any chance they get. Does that make any sense? Does it make any sense to you that the same people that represent Wall Street and carrying their narrative, CNBC, are also the same people that keep telling you Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin? Now they're telling you, no, not gold. Now, why do you think they'd be doing that?
Also, I think people leading into the halving, that's a big piece of it. But the government...
And they won't even speak of XRP, by the way.
Decided we are going to debase the currency, right? And I think that now the world has understood the United States has a debt problem and we're going to debase the currency. So there's some of that going on as well. Now, over the weekend, the price sells off. And I think there's really three things that drove that price sell off. The first is that whenever there's a moment of fear, right, everyone panics, and what do? They still buy dollars. And so some people are selling because of that. The second thing is on the weekend, even though the Bitcoin market is open, the bank system is not open. And so you can't get net new dollars into your crypto account to buy Bitcoin. So the only thing you really can do is if you're holding Bitcoin, you can sell it. But most of the people holding Bitcoin are fully allocated. So they don't have dollars to go buy more Bitcoin. There's a very interesting dynamic where even though you want to buy more Bitcoin, you're closed out of the system as well because the banking system won't let you wire in.
You're saying people would have bought Bitcoin on Middle East tensions if the banking system were open?
The joke is that the real Bitcoiners want the price to go down so they can buy more of it.
So what have we seen since, since then in terms of the price of, we didn't go up a lot.
We didn't go up a lot, but we're basically flat since
so no one is buying
since Monday.
On the heels of Middle East tensions.
Well, I think that the other thing that's happening is that now Bitcoin is being pulled into the legacy system. And so now it's very hard to kind of prove this, but high frequency traders and kind of more algorithmic trading, when all of the news hit Twitter and kind of the social sentiment changed very quickly, you saw a massive amount of tweets about Iran and Israel and rockets and drones, etc. There's a very quick sell-off. I find it hard to believe that humans were able to read Twitter, immediately go to their computer and start hitting the sell button. And so there's got to be some algorithmic trading that's going on there as well, where people are trading headlines, but it's unclear how to measure that.
Let's just understand this, because part of it is, so the folks who are selling likely are selling actual Bitcoin, not the ETFs, because this was happening
closed
over the weekend, right? Correct. And so, then the question seems like the natural follow-up is, why were they not back in the market, either buy ETFs or something else? Put the algos aside since then, and on the back of what I imagine is, you think, a bullish sign on the halving piece of this, which is about to happen.
I think that markets are forward-looking, and part of my...
Okay, we've heard enough of that. Now, today, Senators Cynthia Lummis and Gillibrand introduced the new stablecoin bill early Wednesday in latest efforts to advance legislation addressing this corner of the market. And here's the actual bill: to provide for effective regulation of payment stablecoins and for other purposes, like tokenization, maybe. This guy summarized some of it. This bill allows banks and non-bank trust companies to issue stablecoins through dedicated subsidiaries, bans unbacked algorithmic stablecoins, introduces capital and one-to-one reserve requirements, permits state financial regulators to authorize and supervise stablecoin issuing trust companies below $10 billion, a figure based on outstanding value of firms' issued coins. Gives the Federal Reserve power to issue enforcement actions against stablecoins firms larger than $10 billion, but be required to take joint action with state authorities below that threshold. Remember, folks, the Federal Reserve is a private company. It was sold that way. And now they're saying that the Federal Reserve, this private company, has enforcement power. Are you freaking kidding me? Enforcement power? They're supposed to be not part of the government. What? What is going on? eGrag Crypto, he's talking about the 41 cent red line. 41 cent was highlighted, crucial level. Right now, by the way, XRP I show at, let's see, 48 cents, okay. Flushed out, what's next? We anticipate a move towards $1.20, $1.50, followed by a confirmation of a breakout above $2. This could potentially lead to gains of 15 times, 27 times, and even 55 times. Man, I think post-regulations, once this stablecoin gets going, I think there's no telling where we're going. Now, here's an interesting clip. Let me see. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to move this clip back. I'm going to move it back to here. Then I'm going to come back. I'm going to do that in the next video. But I do want to show you this one, and I do agree with old Jack Mallers on this. I agree with his Epstein point, but I don't agree that it doesn't matter what Jamie Dimon says, because Jamie Dimon, if you see the government, well, you're seeing it. When you see Elizabeth Warren joining forces with Jamie Dimon, translation is Jamie Dimon and his friends are the ones that are pushing these regulators to crack down on crypto / Bitcoin. Could be Bitcoin tomorrow, folks.
And Bitcoin specifically, you had the JP Morgan CEO and chairman Jamie Dimon calling it essentially pet rock, and once again calling into question its worth and its value here. I would love to get your reaction, especially as some of the financial industry elites and figureheads are continuing to cast some doubt here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Brad. What do I think about Jeffrey Epstein's banker being concerned that a distributed, decentralized, open public money could potentially be used for bad things, sitting on a ski resort in Davos? I don't really care. I don't know why anyone cares, right? I mean, that guy knows when money's used for bad things. So it's a weird opinion of his. And my pet rock was up, as you said, 160% last year. It performed well against the dollar. So I don't know. I don't really care what that guy has to say about Bitcoin. I don't know why anybody does.
You better care, dude. Check this out. Remember, I highlighted this yesterday. I'm going to highlight it again. Ryan Selkis is an attorney, folks. This guy is a connected guy. He was at JP Morgan. I should have pulled up his LinkedIn so you could see who this guy is, okay? This is not some Yahoo, all right? Did you hear my bacon ringing in there, by the way? He's the founder and CEO of Masari. The guy he was at JP Morgan. This guy is like connected to all the powerful crypto attorneys and all the network of those people. I don't believe that he said this out of nowhere. I think this came from somewhere. He says, I do think it's more likely than not governments conduct mass confiscation attempts on Bitcoin within the next 5 years. It will be done in the name of security. You know, what does that mean? I think they would do it the same way they did executive order, I think it was 6102, when they confiscated gold. They said, look, you turn this in by such and such date, and we're going to give you such and such price, which is probably... It was probably a little over the fair market value at the time, which then after they got it all, then the price just, by pure coincidence, right? I think it went up to a crazy figure for the time, which is the problem. Folks, this was the whole point. I always said everybody was trying to rake Jimmy Valley over the coals about the idea, an XRP buyback, the federal government's not going to come in and buy this back. That's never, ever what I thought that was about. What I thought it was about is trying to come up with a fair market value and come up with many different scenarios so that you put everything on record that, hey, this is the price that this thing's really worth if it's put into use the way it could and will probably be put into use. So today's, in other words, if the government ever did come trying to do anything like Selkis is describing right here, you'd be able to hold that up and say, no. We've done valuations on this, and you would have a position to sue the federal government to make people whole in the real way. And I said, if an executive order was issued ordering Americans to turn in their Bitcoin for fair market value or risk person or risk prison, what would you do? And I said, Jimmy Valley doesn't seem so crazy now. Imagine there would be a ton of people arguing over what the fair value actually was in that scenario. I have a feeling that Ryan Selkis didn't just float this idea out of nowhere. With lawless government, nothing is off the table is what I meant to say. All right, we're at 15 minutes, my bacon. I wanted to show you this. Peter Schiff, this is something I didn't know. He says, my nephew, Anthony Pompliano, just told CNBC that hardcore Bitcoiners are already fully invested and that any new money coming into Bitcoin will have to come to from Wall Street. But I think Wall Street is about to start selling. That's a recipe for a Bitcoin crash. Buckle up, hodlers. Okay, I'm going to go into the group now and finish some of this, but first we're going to go check the bacon. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that if you want to hear me check the bacon, come on into DAIXRP.com. We'll finish checking the bacon. Then we'll go over, I've got several more things we need to go over. So, all right, I'm going to go check the bacon. Here's